Recently, I was having a conversation with a guy who said he was losing his friends because he was posting about his business on his Facebook page. And he was talking about his experiences in business and some new associations he was having. And he told me that he said that these people, they kept complaining. They're like, we don't want to know about your business. We don't want to know what you're doing. We don't want to know about that. And I asked him, I said, well, were they even your friends to begin with? It reminds me a lot of what happened when I bought my first house. So my wife and I were recently married. We had a couple of little kids at this point, and we bought our first home. Now, this home was not much to speak of. It was really quite small, and we were excited because we had bought it from a bank. The home was in rough shape, and we knew we could fix it up, make it a livable place, and probably make some money on it and provide a place for our kids to be raised. So we jump in both feet. We start tearing out the flooring because it was disgusting. The walls were a mess. We just did everything that we could. So we went in and we put new siding on the house. We put new windows in. We didn't do this all at once. We had to save up a little bit of money at a time. Then we'd invest into the home a little bit more, do a little bit more work, do a little bit more work. We'd been doing that for several months of slowly fixing it up, slowly fixing it up. We'd been in the neighborhood for probably close to about 9 months at this point. And one day, a few neighbors were all getting together and we were having a kind of a neighborhood get-together barbecue. We're all sitting there and one of the neighbors turns to me and he says, "Hey, how do you rank?" "What do you mean by that, dude? How do you rank? What's that supposed to mean?" And I was like, I'm sorry, what was that?" He said, "How do you rank?" I was like, I don't know how I rank. How do I rank? And he's like, "What are you doing? Coming into our neighborhood, doing all this stuff to the house. You're just trying to be better than the rest of us. Is that it?" I was shocked. Why would he be offended because we were fixing up the junkiest house in the neighborhood? His lawn was immaculate. To me, I would have thought he'd have been appreciative that we'd come in and taken an eyesore and turned it into a respectable house again. And at the time, we'd put a new roof on, we'd put new windows in, we'd put new siding on, and then we had just barely, like a week before, painted the outside of the house because the paint on the original siding was just peeling and cracking all over, and we had to go in and replace several pieces of siding. We didn't have to replace all of it, but a lot of it, and it needed a good paint job. So to me, I was flabbergasted. Like, what are you talking about? How is that a problem for you? But what it was I was stepping into a territory that made him feel uncomfortable. He was not my friend. He didn't want to be my friend. He didn't want me to be different. He didn't want me to improve. He was comfortable where he was, and he wanted his neighborhood to validate who he was as an individual. I think the same thing's happening to my friend that's losing Facebook friends. My friend is in this new journey. He's recently transitioned into being in this business, running the business, part owner in the business, and he's excited about it. And he's making massive changes in his life and learning whole new skills. And these other people are dragging him back down. They're saying, "Don't be like that. Don't do that. Come back to us. Be like us. Don't focus on these other things in your life." It reminds me a lot also when I used to play sports as a kid. You'd go out and you'd have your basketball friends and we'd all play basketball together. Well, one day, for some reason, I decided I was tired of basketball. And I went over and there's a whole new group of friends. And I started playing football with them. And I thought, this is cool. Well, the basketball friends, they weren't so cool about it. They didn't like the idea of you moving to a new friend group to do new things. You're supposed to stay with them, validate them, be a part of them. Oftentimes, as we're learning and growing, we're going to experience change in life. That change often necessitates us finding different friends. The old friends aren't necessarily bad, but we as individuals are shifting as we're learning and growing and becoming. And oftentimes, the friends that we have reflect similarities to who we are right now. So if we want to shift, sometimes some of those friends are naturally going to drift away. And we can't become so fixated on ensuring that we maintain close friendships with everyone we've ever met that we can't become a better person or we can't accomplish what we're hoping to. Classic example is the people who are trying to train for a marathon. They're going to change their lifestyle radically from what they were before. I had a friend who was training for a half marathon, and I saw a lot less of her while she was doing that because she was out running every single day, and I wasn't in a position where I could be running with her. It wasn't that we suddenly didn't like each other. It wasn't suddenly that I was a bad person or she was a bad person, but she had some goals. And while she was accomplishing those goals, she needed to spend that time trying to accomplish things. And she gathered a new friend group around her, one where the people were runners, where they were going to the gym all the time, where they valued those things. And that new friend group helped support her in her dreams and in her goals. It's critical that we all do the same thing. We cannot stay in the same herd with the same chickens or the same friends and expect to ever change. If you want to change, a few friends may drift off into your past, and that's okay. And new friends are going to come into your life. And as that happens, it accelerates your growth in ways you could never imagine.